is another Spirit Has a Plan. Thank you, hon. I told her that we have it. I told Geneviève. And so, I sent out, I happened to see on Daily Call some news thing that I get every day, and they had said something about Rachel Maddow and Imagine, and how she didn't really get what was going on in Paris till she heard this. So I got on the link, and it was all these videos, and the streets were so crowded with people. And then there was somebody that had an apartment above, a real crowded square. They opened their door to the patio, and they were playing Imagine.
Oh, wow.
And all the people were waving and, with their signs and all this. And I just cried. I sent it out to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so Geneviève and I were corresponding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out she was in Paris. And then she said, something about speaking at some point here again, which she had years ago. And I go, oh my God, that's Valentine's Day. How perfect. So she said yes right away.
Right.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Susan said, how about bringing the angels to CHN directly on Valentine's Day? And I thought, yes, of course, wonderful. So thank you for having me here. I feel very honored, very blessed. It's always a very special delight to be invited by Susan, by Vi. I love it to come see Vi again, to meet again Virginia, to meet all those who I recognize and those that I meet in you, because I see you for the first time. So it just feels so very, very good. It touches my heart to see that really everywhere in the world, wherever I travel nowadays in these last 2 years very specifically, people are attracted by their angels. So it's very touching to me, because I have been somebody who has seen and been with angels ever since I was tiny, very small. And I learned the lesson that you had to better shut up about it, otherwise people were going to punish you. So, are you hearing me?
Yeah, but I didn't want anybody to punish you.
Ah, okay. No, but I had a darling mom who had shows at the soul level as probably the best mom I could have for this lifetime. But I must have not completely been able to evaluate the amount of effort it was going to need, because my mom was a very, very strong Catholic. We said of her, she should have married the Pope, because that's how Catholic she is.
Did you tell her that?
What did she say about it?
We always said she should have married the Pope, because that's how Catholic she was. So you can imagine.
That's very strong Catholic.
Yeah, very strong, very strong. That's just to give you an impression of what we were dealing with. And we were 6 kids, so she was really following the rules of the Pope and everything. And so here I was having a mom who herself had chosen quite a difficult life and did not know love, not at all. So she was in a fairly easy life. Her husband was doing a great job, everything, but she was always very, very unhappy, and she left it out to us, the kids. So whenever I was coming back from being in the garden with my angels, having the highest love possible, you know how angels give you that love and you're just, you're just happy, you're just feeling good. And I came home and here was my mom again, unable to receive the messages I gave her, especially because whatever I told her happened within the next 5 minutes or the next day. And so that was too bothering for her. So her reaction was mostly pack me by the hand and put me into the broom closet where it was dark and leave me there for 2 hours. And so I guess that's where I learned to meditate. Because kicking the door or screaming didn't have any results. So
Our angel also came to that closet to you or no?
they were with me. Very good question. I love it. What's your name?
Holly.
Honey. Oh, I love it, honey.
H-A-L-L-E.
Oh, Holly. Holly.
H-A-L-L-E.
Holly.
Holly.
H-A-L-L-E. Oh, Holly. Okay. Sorry, that's new to me. See, I'm learning every day. Thank you, Holly. And yes, the angels were with me, so that was helpful. It was still a bit confusing, as you can imagine, for a little girl, because you knew the experience you had with the angels was true, was real, what they said was always, always very supportive, was always full of love, was always full of compassion. And yet my mother, who normally as a little girl, you imagine your mother is going to be the one who loves you. She could not take it. And with every time I was trying to share with her, she would get very upset. So that was a difficult foundation I had. But as we know, I chose that, so okay, my own stuff. and what I could not understand was that my siblings were doing the same thing as my mom. So it all made me a bit confused. And it was only when I was 10 years old that I finally got the story, because my angels used to give me information on things that were going to happen, and I would have very strong visuals. Often it would be even like being in a movie. And so one of them had been that when I see my grandfather being carried down our staircase in the house, that would mean I have to tell my parents, please bring him home to Versailles, where his home was, because that's where he would want to die the next day. So when I was 10 years old, I saw exactly that picture. My grandfather was being carried down the staircase. And I loved my grandfather very dearly, very much, but I knew that's the picture. I have to let my parents know. So I told them, and you know how it ended, and in the closet. And yet there, I did not just take it. I was kicking and screaming in the closet because I knew my grandfather apparently needs to die at home. And so finally, my father accepted to take my grandfather home, and I came with him. And he would not let me be with him for overnight because the next day was Monday. I had to be at school. But of course, the next morning at school, I saw my father arriving from the distance with the nun. Of course, my parents sent us to Catholic schools. And I was asked to come out and was told that my grandfather had just died that morning. So of course, for my parents, it was again upsetting that what I had told them was happening. And so we were driving back to Versailles, to my grandfather's house. I was very sad, as you can imagine. And when we arrived, here he was. He was in his light body, receiving me with great joy. And I was so happy that I could just, like a little girl who dances and sings with joy and all that. And of course, my mother was very, very upset, as you can imagine. You don't behave like that in the house of a dead. And that's when I finally realized, oh, they don't see him. Nobody saw him. I was the only one. Yeah. So it was weird. It was very weird. But I was happy. My grandfather was there. He remained with me all along. He was so good that he would sometimes, even when I went to bed at night, and he would tell me, once my parents were also in their bedroom, he would say, go back to your math book, page such and such, review this and that. And the next day we had the test on those things. So that was,
Yeah, really.
yes, that was good help.
I like that, Angel.
Yeah, that was good help. So now you understand where I come from. So I have been living a life which was a little bit two parts. Mm-hmm. One part that I could show, one part that I had to really keep for myself. And the last 2 years, like I was saying before to a few friends here, have been such a blessing for me, such a delight, because suddenly when people ask me, and I've been traveling a lot, I was a lot also traveling through many countries in Europe, France and Germany and Switzerland and Austria and many places. And when people ask me, so what do you do? Because I have stopped being a school teacher since last year, now I can answer, oh, I'm a medium, I work with angels. And instead of looking at me as if I were totally crazy, like people used to do, nowadays they go, oh, really? Can I ask you a question? Oh, and then by the time I answer 50 questions, or maybe even 57, then they go, oh, could I have a session with you? There is a change, there's a shift. Yeah. The angels have announced it. 1997 was the first time I received that big vision from my angels announcing, now it's done. It's sure. We have done it as a human race. We are not going to go into the Third World War. We're not going to go into the Armageddon. We've done it. Enough of us have raised our consciousness, so that included CHN. 1997, I didn't even know you guys, but you were part of it. And
Yeah, we were part of it.
yes, exactly, you were. And yeah, I was still living in Germany at that time. And yeah, so that was a vision that was of high importance to me. It really opened me up to, you know, the decision, okay, now I'm going to share my work with the world. Now I cannot do it just for friends and stay hidden. I have to go out. And that's when my angel started at some point announcing, you're going to go to California. And I was like, come on, angels, you're crazy, California? I love California. But my 4 kids were over there, and I already had 2 grandkids at that time. It was like, I can't leave them. There's no way. So they worked on me. I was working against them, trying to get a job in south of France. I mean, south of France is beautiful too, isn't it? Nothing worked. I have 2 masters and so many years of teaching. Nothing worked. Okay. Then at some point I surrendered. I said, angels, okay, California. And then, believe it or not, it's a more difficult story to organize if you are of French nationality. I had nothing to do. They did it for me. Everything went into place. I even had a school from Menlo Park calling me in Germany and letting me know, oh, I have found your resume online. You're exactly the person we want. Can we hire you for this August 2000? And I said, yeah, but what about the visa? Oh, no problem. We're going to pay for it. We'll organize it. We'll do it for you. They did everything for us. So it was great. My youngest daughter was only 8 years old at that time. So, of course, she was going to come with me. And they said, oh, no problem. It was a private school. We take her for free. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, when the angels want something, they do.
Okay.
And yeah, so thanks to this incredible blessing, we have come here. We've been here for 15 years with my youngest daughter. There was a little story that I have to add to that move because I love it so much. And it shows the synchronicities that we start experiencing when we cooperate with our angels, when we open ourselves to them. At that time in February 2000, when I received a phone call from that school in Menlo Park, one of my daughters had already left Germany. She had married an American guy in New York. And so when it happened, oh, I was sad, my daughter's leaving, and oh. And yeah, interestingly enough, as soon as I got that phone call, I called her to say, hey, Angie, can you imagine? I'll be on the same continent. We're moving. And she was, oh, Mom, so exciting. I'll be coming every weekend. And but she didn't even need to do that. Guess what? After my phone call, she tried to call her husband, who was at work, could not get through. He himself had received a phone call at that same moment from a startup company in Santa Cruz that had found him on the internet, wanted absolutely to have him, and flew my daughter and Jimmy here to Santa Cruz for them to check out if they liked it. They loved it. And in August 2000, they moved here to Santa Cruz. My youngest daughter and I moved here to Menlo Park.
Wow.
We were at 45 minutes. Yeah, exactly. That's what we did. So you see, it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting. So all of that, just for you to know, it's really a world that is benevolent. We just need to go with it. What has happened is that for so many centuries, so many millennia, we have wanted to play the game of being separated. And so, according to that, we got it all. It was tough, it was hard, we got killed, we got burned, we got all of it because of it. And how many people have been killed because of God, supposedly, and are still now being killed? It is, okay. But it is changing. We are at this moment of transition. And to confirm my vision of 1997, that for me became the vision of heaven on earth, and that's why my company is called Heaven on Earth Network. Since then I've created a circle of people all across the world with working with the angels. And so, but since then, I found it was very slow to get to heaven on earth. Excuse me, when you look at the medias, I don't do TV because I just cannot receive those type of energies. I will simply, to get the news, be quickly on the internet or somewhere, but I don't want to see all that negativity. But if people look at the news, then they get their big load of negative stuff on a daily basis, and they keep being in
And
that
it's all
mode.
manipulated anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly, and that's what they take in their dreams at night, and that's how they start their day the next day, and so on. And so I was really praying to my angels, give me some information. Are we going to finally see that heaven on earth soon? I know it's hours of the making. I know it's our responsibility, but you have announced it to me. I have announced it to so many people now. You said it was going to happen in my lifetime, and I'm not that old, never. Ladies don't reveal their age. But still, you have a sense, maybe one day it has to happen. And on my birthday, that was last November 2014, Archangel Michael came in during my meditation, and I was touched to tears because he said, now, that's happening. Now, 2015, 16, and 17 are going to be the 3 years that if you add them numerologically, they are a 9, and the 9 is the number of completion. And that's going to be when we finally accomplish that shift, that raising of awareness of all of us around the globe, when we can finally recreate heaven on earth. And those who are not of that level of awareness, who cannot fit into that type of energies, will simply have to find a different way, on a different experience, on a different planet, and different possibilities. But it's happening now. And so I shared it with my people, and Carol was one of those who heard it. And of course, letting them know